news the other day. It was on the BBC Radio Hour, BBC, I don't know what it's called, but it's the 9 o'clock on WNYC in the mornings. It was about this ring that someone had bought at a trunk sale, and they had worn it for years. They paid £10, which, or 12, I think it was, yeah, it was £10 or $10, whatever. It wasn't very much money. And they wore it for years, and then one day they just thought, you know what, let me just go see if this is worth anything. You know, even if the metal is like actual gold or what. So they took it to get appraised. It was a 24-karat diamond. A 24-karat diamond that they had just been wearing for the heck of it, you know? Like as a cocktail ring. I think I'll just put this on today. It's shiny, it looks nice, it's a sunny day, that'll be fun. And they just walked around with a 24-karat diamond on their hand, not really thinking about it. Now, I don't even wear my wedding band that has stones on it, mostly because I've scratched the kids a couple times, so also because sometimes I get a little nervous. It is not a 24-karat diamond. It's not even a whole carat. But, you know, I just get nervous about it getting loose in the setting, because it got loose one time. And when I wear it, I'm very aware of what I'm wearing. And this woman had a gigantic rock that she probably never really thought about. And then, of course, as soon as you get that appraisal, oh, you can't wear that anymore, right? Oh, you can't, don't even take it out of your house. And now it has been estimated. It's going to be sold at auction, and the estimated worth is about $400,000 that she would just throw on to go to a dinner party. It was a priceless treasure, carried into ordinary life without even realizing what she had on. Which is, I think, a great way to think about the Trinity. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of worship, a lot of preachers avoid talking about the Trinity, and I'm going to do my best to talk about it without actually talking about it, because it's just really difficult to understand, right? 3 and 1, 1 and 3. It doesn't really make much sense. And if you want to try and describe it, it's going to take an awful lot of words. Do you guys have any plans for it? I've got 20 pages up here. But seriously, if you look at what we used to, in our old hymnal, the green book that we had before the red book, we had the Athanasian Creed. And in my ordination vows and in our congregational constitution and all of these things, we say that we follow the Apostles' Creed, which is what we say most Sundays, the Nicene Creed, which is what we're saying today, and the Athanasian Creed, which we didn't even put in the book this time. Maybe we ran out of space, because it's very long. It's like at least twice as long, don't you think? It's very long, and it's very repetitive, and so we're not saying it today. But it just takes so much time to try and explain something like the Trinity. So, I'm not necessarily going to try. But how can there be 3 in 1 or 1 in 3? It is this foundational doctrine of our faith, right? We baptize in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We say we are a Trinitarian faith. Our name here in Nutley is Holy Trinity. And yet, this whole thing basically is nonsense. Not nonsense the way sometimes one of my children will try and validate something that they have done and create an explanation that has nothing to do with anything, but nonsense in the way that it is not sensical. We cannot sense the Trinity. We cannot imagine or perceive or illustrate it really effectively. And yet it exists. And that is our 24-carat diamond that we wear on our finger while working with the garbage disposal, while putting air in our tires, while weeding the garden, taking laundry out of the dryer. My mother lost her stone that way. And all the rest of life, even at the beach. We'll never find it. Our treasure is that we can stop making sense. When it comes to our deepest held convictions, they just are not sensible. We have no explanation for them, and we cannot really defend them in any way that wouldn't make us sound ridiculous. And yet, this ridiculous claim, this nonsensical, indescribable, indefensible claim that somehow 3 is 1 and 2 + 2 = 5 and all the rest, this is a defining characteristic of who we are and how we make our way on this pilgrimage. But it doesn't make sense. But a lot of things about our lives don't make sense. It makes no sense to me, nor to the Trinity, that so many people suffer alone every day. It makes no sense to me that our only recourse to international disagreement is often the wrong end of a warhead or a trade deal which can only be signed under the cover of darkness for fear of how tyrannical the terms are. I don't understand how our binaries, which everyone says make so much sense, are so satisfactory. Black and white, gay and straight, citizen and alien, carnivore and vegetarian, Republican or Democrat. It makes no sense. And you know what? If it makes no sense to you either, it shouldn't. Our God makes no sense to us. This Trinity, because God's terms, God's aspirations and commandments just don't fit with the world the way it is. We cannot comprehend God because God's ways are not our ways. Our nonsensical God calls us to recognize the things that we think are common sense actually don't make sense. God's math and ours, the world's, just don't add up. As humans, and as products of our culture, we all want to know everything about everything, right? And some of us might even believe that we can know everything about everything. But I think we've actually passed the point in history when it's possible to know everything about everything. And I don't know that we should really want to know everything about everything. Do we really want to know everything? Because then we need to know what is going on there, out there, in the big, bad world. And if we do want to know everything, then why don't we do something about it, instead of being duped by punditry or revisionism? You see, the moment the Trinity begins to make sense to us, the moment we recognize that this nonsense God is our God, is the moment that we realize that the world around us isn't making sense. Our God is a God of love, and love makes no sense. So let's fall in love. Taking in families on the run from the law makes no sense. So let's be a sanctuary. Feeding the poor and housing the homeless makes no sense because those welfare queens and criminals and freeloaders should just go get a job or 4 and call it the American dream. That makes no sense. Our world cannot make sense of God, and that is a really good thing. But what about us? The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are all held together by love. God is love. The Trinity is love. Holy Trinity Lutheran Church is bound together by love. Sometimes we say that lovers dance. I know of a couple in particular, soon to be married, who like to dance. And perhaps it's a polka or a foxtrot or a samba or a salsa or a hula or I don't know what, but lovers dance. They step on each other's feet. That's part of learning to dance. They apologize. They clean up after one another. They forgive even when it's inappropriate to do so. They forget transgressions. They die on crosses for each other. They inspire one another to speak languages. They create things for one another. This love, the world would say, does not make sense. As a world, as people of this world, we remember too many of the little things and all too often forget the big ones. We remember robbing a liquor store while forgetting robbing Africa of a significant portion of its population. We remember grandma and grandpa or great-grandma and great-grandpa or even our own parents coming through Ellis Island and forget that Ellis Island closed a long time ago and that the new transatlantic flight comes by way of a few cacti and scorpions in a parched wilderness. We remember the holy stories of our civil religion, of our ancestors coming to this land in search of religious freedom. And we forget the holy stories of our actual Christian religion that call us to welcome those seeking the same, like Oldie Manopo, Ravani Wanko, Saul Timasela, and Orino Massey, all of whom were deported in the last few weeks back to Indonesia, a land that they fled, a land in which they were persecuted for their faith, the same faith we claim to have as our own. We remember these little details, these little and ultimately worthless things, all the while forgetting that we are carrying around something so much bigger and worth so much more. Not worthless, but priceless. How many times have we fought to cling to the sense of safety we find in all those little things, in the small snippets of certainty and knowledge we're offered by the world? Too many times. And at what cost? How many times have we not realized what we're wearing? Carrying around with us, risking damage, and yet never ever losing. How many times have we forgotten we put on that 24-karat ring? One of my friends has a sister whose name is also Kathryn. It can get confusing. But Kathryn was having a bad day one day and walked into a gift shop or a little jewelry store and bought this little piece of costume jewelry. A very sort of shiny, cute ring, maybe cost about $10. And it became her great day ring because she was having a horrible day and she needed something to sort of draw her out of that. So she put on this ring and she said, "I'm having a great day." And several years ago, I was having a similarly bad day. You know, it was one of those days when, like, you wake up feeling grumpy, and then you get some bad news, and then you spill coffee on your shirt, whatever. Like, it was just one of those days. And I remember this story, and so I went out and I bought myself a Great Day ring. And I put it on and I looked at it and I was like, I am having a great day. I'm having a great day. I'm having a great day. I'm having a great day. Please let me be having a great day. And this is what the Trinity is. It is a ring that we put on, that we paid nothing for. It was given to us as a gift. A ring of immeasurable worth that we throw on almost without a thought, that we carry with us everywhere. And maybe the reason we started wearing it one day was because we were having a really crap day, and we thought it would cheer us up. Not realizing that ring was a 24-karat diamond, priceless, beyond all measure, that would never fall off, that would never get lost or damaged or loose in its setting. This is the ring of the Trinity. God provides throughout our lives all that we need. God creates and calls it, what? Good. Maybe even great. It's a great day. God promises to be with us for how long? Always. And God calls us into relationship with each other. God keeps God's promises with and through us. And like a beautifully cut diamond, God's love is reflected and refracted into every facet of our lives. Amen.